Hello everyone, this week I've got a banjo lesson for you, and I thought what I'd do is take some basic roll patterns, specifically the Foggy Mountain Roll, and then show how to play this basic roll up the neck in the key of G, so playing G chord, C chord, and a D chord. And then I'll also show you later on how to play the same progression in the key of C and in the key of D. So I hope you enjoy the lesson. Okay, so that's the Foggy Mountain Roll, and that's what we're going to need to play for this lesson. Now, you don't need to play with the 2-3 hammer-on the way Earl does it in Foggy Mountain Breakdown. What we're trying to do here is we're going to apply that roll and then move it around into different chord progressions up the neck. So the basic Foggy Mountain Roll starts on the B string. Okay, so once more, that's the thumb, middle, thumb, middle. Okay. So that's the basic roll, thumb, middle, thumb, index, middle. And then on the second part, you actually have to use your index finger there. Okay, so that's the roll. And once you've got that roll down, which I presume many players will already know that roll, then what we're going to do is we're going to go up the neck into the G chord position. And so that's going to be at the 8th fret, your index finger at the 8th fret, your ring finger at the 9th fret. And then you're just going to play that roll. So that's up in the, it's what we would call the D position of the G chord. But you can just play with your index and your ring finger. Okay, then we're going to move up and explore the next position above it in the key of G, which is the bar chord position at the 12th fret. So your middle finger is on the 12th fret, your ring finger is on the 12th fret, and you play the Foggy Mountain Roll. Okay, and now if you were to do a 2-measure pattern moving between those two, it would sound like this. Okay, so that's the beginning of our chord progression. Now we're going to go through what I would call a Your Love Is Like a Flower chord progression. So that goes G, then to C, then to G, then to D, and then it repeats. And what we're going to do, so that would be, you could also say that's 1 to the 4 chord, to the 1 to the 5 chord, and then back and repeating. Okay, so what's that going to sound like with this same roll pattern? So we're going to start in G. Okay, so that's 2 measures of G and 2 measures of C. Now for the C chord, my index was on the 8th fret, and my pinky was on the 10th fret. So that's the F chord shape position for C. But I'm just playing, you can just play the index and the pinky. And then we move up to the next inversion of the C chord, which is the 13th fret, the middle finger at the 13th fret, and the pinky at the 14th fret. Okay, so now that's G and C. Then in the Your Love Is Like a Flower chord progression, we'd go back to G. So we'll go back and play what we did. Okay, and then we move to a D chord, or the 5 chord. Okay, and so that D chord, it's the same as the C, it's just 2 frets higher. So that is your index on the 10th fret and your pinky on the 12th fret. And then when you go up to the inversion, a little higher, your middle finger is on the 15th fret and your pinky is on the 16th fret. So again, that sounds like this is the D chord. And then you can return back to the D. So what that chord progression would sound like, 1, 4, and 5, would be like this, all the way through the Your Love Is Like a Flower chord progression. Okay, so, or at least that would be the first half. You would then just go ahead and repeat. So one thing you might have noticed is I don't always play the full Foggy Mountain Roll. I don't always play. Sometimes I just play. So I'm just omitting one of the eighth notes. You can do it either way. And I just wanted to show you this idea of moving on every measure. Now, you don't have to move on every measure. You could stay put on some measures. You could sound like this. You could also move up into another inversion. Maybe the next time through you don't want it to sound exactly the same, so you start a little higher up. You start here at the 12th fret. Okay, and that really gets me into the next part of the lesson, which is that this isn't about playing this lick the exact same way or doing it all the same all the time. It's really about learning the chord shapes in all the different positions up and down the neck and being comfortable enough and confident enough to play this kind of lick and to know that, okay, I know what chord I'm in and I know I can play this lick and I just need to find the right inversion of it. So what you could do then, after you've learned this little version that I've shown you, it might be good to just explore the fingerboard. Where are all the places that I could play this, say in the key of G? And so that would look like this. It would start open. Then we move up to the 3rd fret and the 5th fret, that F chord shape for the G. Then the next inversion is the one that we already did at the 8th and the 9th fret. Higher up is this at the 12th fret. Up at the 15th and the 17th fret, so your index on the 15th fret and your pinky on the 17th fret. And then the highest one that you can get is at the 20th and the 21st fret. Okay, so once you've got that, you can move all around. You can move around, and so you can play around with that. Now, I've just shown you the G, C, and D chord progression, but what if you were to play in a different key? It's actually pretty similar, and this moves around very easily all over the banjo fretboard. So what if we wanted to play in the key of C? And we wanted to use the same pattern. Well, we could start down here on a C chord with our index finger on the 1st fret and our ring finger on the 2nd fret and play that Foggy Mountain lick. So I went from the 1st and the 2nd fret up to the 5th fret where I'm playing the bar chord for C. So what would that chord progression sound like? 1, 4, and 5. Okay, so that was just moving around in that same style. And so the 1 chord was the C. That was the index finger on the 1st fret and the ring finger on the 2nd fret. Then we went to the 4 chord, which is an F chord, and that's the index finger on the 1st fret, and you're just moving your pinky up to the 3rd fret. So from C to F. And then the 5 chord, you're just sliding that shape up to the 3rd and the 5th fret. So the C chord, if you're moving it to the different inversion, it starts on the 1st and the 2nd, moves up to the 5th. Then you go to the F chord, that's at the 1st fret and the 3rd fret. And then the inversion is at the 6th fret to the 7th fret. And then the G chord, the 5 chord, is at the 3rd and the 5th fret there. And then the inversion is back up to the 8th and 9th fret. which is of course where we started this lesson. Okay, what about in the key of D? Key of D, it's the same thing, only you're 2 frets higher. So the key of D, instead of starting in C down on the 1st and the 2nd fret, you're just shifting up 2 frets. So now your index finger is on the 3rd fret, which is a D note, and your ring finger is on the 4th fret, which is an F sharp. So you play that Foggy Mountain Roll. Okay, that's the 1 chord. The 4 chord is just it's gonna be the G chord. First finger on the 3rd fret, pinky finger on the 5th fret. And you can do that inversion where you go from here in the F shape up to the D shape, which is at the 8th and 9th frets. Okay, and then where's the 5 chord? The 5 chord is the A chord, which is at the 5th fret and your pinky on the 7th fret. And that would sound a little bit better if I had spiked my 5th string at the 2nd fret here. A lot of times when you play in D, you can tune that 5th string up to A, and then that's going to be a little more resonant, and it's going to provide a little better harmony for the chord. So the way that 4 chord would sound, though, or the way the D chord would sound in the chord progression, your love is like a flower, would be like this. Okay, and really that's the lesson. That's what I wanted to show you, is that we can play this 1, 4, 5 chord progression just by using the different inversions, and with 2 finger chords. With your left hand, you're just using 2 fingers and you're shifting around through these different inversions in the G chord, then in the C chord, and then in the D chord. And it's a great way to explore the neck. I showed you where all the G's were on the neck, but you want to go through and find where all the C's are, right? So C, and then you want to find where all the D's are. And by doing this, you can then very quickly move around on the neck and play a neat backup and a different kind of backup. It doesn't need to be the same every time. You can experiment with it and try different inversions and try, but using this Foggy Mountain Roll, and you won't go wrong. So it's something worth trying and having fun with. So thanks. I hope you enjoyed the lesson.